Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good? What's good? What's good? So yeah, a lot happened. Don't cry about it. Just be about it. Glad you guys made money on Thai. I would tell you to be careful with that one because it actually, to me, does not look good. But we will leave that because that's not a part of Sunday Roundup. I'll let you guys chat about that as much as you want. Now, Rick Ritchie, thank you for letting me know that you invested in yourself. Mr. Big, you actually did invest in yourself, even though you want to play that silly little game like you didn't. But we got you, man. We got you. What else is there? Who else is here? So far, that's it. Unless I missed a couple of people. And if I did, I'm sorry. Now, this past week was just a little bit crazy. A little bit crazy. Just saying. Just saying. Let's see. We had cybersecurity breaches, not small ones. We had huge ones. We had crypto regulatory shifts and legal shenanigans. We had strategic corporate crypto treasury moves. We had financial market volatility, institutional investment, and ETF expansion. We had stablecoin adoption, crypto-related crime. We had all kinds of stuff. Bitcoin mining and national level crypto adoption initiatives are going on. Blockchain technology integration in financial services, which is big. And we had AI and quantum computing implications for crypto markets. The other big news that I don't think people are really paying attention to, or the biggest news, in my humble opinion, that can actually affect your bags and affect a lot of other things in your lives, is going to be cybersecurity. It's going to be cybersecurity. So there was a hacker that said they had their hands on about 1.2 billion records from Meta. That happened earlier this month. Just in the past week, you had LexisNexis get hacked. And I don't know if you know who they are. If you think Google has a lot of data on you, they make Google look like a pamphlet compared to all of the libraries in the world. Let that wash over you a little bit. Let that sink in. LexisNexis has more information on you than Google, than Amazon, than all of them combined. Let that wash over you for a moment. And they said that only 380 some odd thousand people, had their information exposed. I would be shocked if that's the lowest number. I would be amazed if it's the highest number. The reason why is because, like I said, LexisNexis has a ridiculous amount of information about just about everybody. So seeing that kind of cracks me up. It really does. You didn't just have LexisNexis. I actually released an article on Grow My Bag about how much was snatched. And I'll even give you a few. We have Meta, like I said, got snatched for about, give or take, 1.2 billion. But even if you remove that, you have AT&T. They got hacked, 31 million people affected. Dell, 49 million people affected. JP Morgan Chase, about 500,000 affected. The Cooperative Group, they had millions of people infected, or affected rather. You had this last database that included names, numbers, passwords, and a whole bunch of other information from Apple, Google, Netflix, and others, all found in that database. Supposedly that database was taken down, but I'm telling you, if that database was on the open internet, I can tell you that it's definitely available on the dark web, or the part of the internet that most people don't know how to get to. So I went on a quest to find out just about how much. If I discount the 1.2 billion allegedly hacked via Meta, and mind you, if that's true, that's Meta at, guys, if you're having a private conversation, I'd strongly advise going over to Big Baggers, because that's where that conversation actually make sense. Here we have a specific subject, which is the Sunday Roundup, where we look at everything that's happened over the past week that could affect our coming week. And just saying, that's why that whole group was built for you guys, because it's distracting. And there's a lot of stuff that you guys are discussing that should only be in that group. Remember, you guys pay for that group, so yeah, probably over there. What else do we have? So if you're just looking at that, that bulk of numbers, remove Meta, which is Facebook, Instagram, your Quest, friggin' visors, all that stuff. Facebook, duh. Remove that. You still had 584 million people affected. 584 million people affected by all the hacks in the past week. In the past week. We're not talking about for the past month, few months, past week. Now, when you think about, everything that goes on, you're thinking about, well, you had a cloud provider that handles a lot of, it's called Commvault. Let me tell you who was actually affected. Meta, AT&T, Dell, JP Morgan Chase, Cooperative Group, Marks and Spencer, Commvault, Victoria's Secret, Nucor Corporation, the Czech Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Then you had that massive password leak that I told you includes Facebook or Meta, Google, Netflix, and others. Then on top of that, again, you had LexisNexis. That is huge. Huge. So if you're a person that has accounts in different places, you might want to pay attention to that. If you're holding stock for some of these countries, you might want to pay attention to whether or not those hits will affect their stocks. Again, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. This is why I tell you guys to do this research, because some of this research you're not going to find unless you do it every day. Like when I do my research every day, I'm looking to see if some of this news carries over into the next day. No. 9 times out of 10, unless it's huge news, it does not carry over into the next day. And even if it does, it's via a different outlet. And the less it appears over the coming days, and then the smaller the outfits it appears in over the following days. So yeah, it's hard to do that stuff, which is why you have to keep educating yourself and investing in yourself every single day. And I prefer, my preference is, don't do it all in one chunk. Like even if you just spend 15 minutes a day, do 7.5 in the morning, 7.5 at night. Don't do 15 in the morning just because you have the time. If you do 15 minutes in the morning just because you have the time, still find a way to put in that 7.5, because that other 7.5 in the morning, that was a bonus. Still do your mandatory 7.5 in the evening. Why? You have different news cycles. And again, today is not going to mean tomorrow. You're not necessarily going to wake up the next day and figure out what you missed. You're going to wake up the next day and you're going to see just what's news today. That's going to be like 75, 85% of your news is going to be brand new. It's not going to be follow on, at least where your bags are concerned. So do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Because when you look at some of these companies, you're talking about tech giants, financial institutions, because affected actually last week was JP Morgan Chase and Bank of America and Wells Fargo. You see where I'm going with this, right? So you had 3 of the 4 major banks in the country hit. You have retail, Victoria's Secret, freaking L Brand, which is a part of L Brands, Marks and Spencer. I'm just saying, you have, did I mention that NATO was also hit? NATO. Yeah. Crazy, right? And you're going to go, Eddie, well, NATO is not going to affect my bag, right? Not directly. But the hack attacks that are happening, well, not necessarily hacking, but because there are different ways that you can get at this data. So the different attacks, the various attacks come together as an aggregated, database of information that they have on you. You could have been affected by any one of these. Have a Facebook account, have WhatsApp, use Meta's Quest goggles or whatever they're called. Yeah. You could be affected by that. So that's using Gmail. See where that's going? These people have your names, your email addresses, just a whole bunch of stuff about you. Let's not forget about the medical companies that also got hit in the past week. Yeah. And these companies, they're not necessarily getting out there and letting people know immediately that they got hacked. We had a municipality come out and tell us 6 months later. We had a couple of big businesses come out and tell us 7 months later. Imagine your information, your medical records being out there on the internet for somebody to buy for $2. For $2. To have access to all of that information. Imagine if they actually did hack your email, because I don't know, they've got your passwords, your names, your email addresses. Imagine if they were actually able to hack your email, what other information they would get. So yes, my recommendation is change your password at least once a year, preferably once every 6 months, once every quarter. It's going to affect your bags. Don't have two-factor authentication turned on because you think it's too inconvenient. Do it anyway. Because I'm pretty sure you're going to think that maybe having somebody hack into your bank account or your digital wallet would kind of be more problematic, right? That's what I'm thinking. So yeah. Okay, to his job. Oh, did you hear about a man that wanted to roll over his 401k, but because his bank didn't do electronic transfers, the paper check was stolen? That's on the bank. You didn't make sure that, well, it depends. Did the bank hand him a check? Because if the bank mailed him a check, well, just because you mailed it doesn't mean I received it. And you have a way, the bank would have a way of pulling back the money, right? Unfortunate, but there are things out there that could actually help to pull that back. But you want to know what is difficult to pull back on? It's hard to pull back on Cash App and other instant payers. Yeah. You know what else is hard to pull back on? Debit cards. Because debit cards act like cash, and they'll tell you, oh yeah, no, unless it's 2 seconds after the transaction and you've already got us on the phone, there's nothing we can do about it. Ooh. That's right. So it's a problem. My rule is I try to use debit cards as much as possible. Why? Because it's like using cash. So I think of it like cash. Once it leaves my hands, it's gone, right? So if I get taken, it's gone. I use my credit cards for big purchases. I use my debit cards for small things. Like when I go to the store, get them good. Yeah. Unless they're, client gifts. If they're client's gifts, then, I use the credit card, the company credit card. But for the most part, small things on my debit card because I live toward cash. And if I use the credit card, I only use my business credit card. And if it doesn't belong on a business credit card, then I shouldn't be getting it. I do have, a personal credit card, and it's got to be a massive kind of charge, right? So my car insurance gets paid via credit card so I can get the points, but I've already got the cash to pay the bill. I'm just using the card to get the free money that they're giving me. Hello, Paula, and thank you for letting me know that you have invested in yourself. Greatly appreciate that. And Stitch is over here goofing around. You gonna get on camera? No? You're not gonna get on camera? No? Okay. He's just doing what he wants to do. He doesn't care. What are you doing? What do you have down there? I don't know what he's doing. Chasing something. I think probably a toy that he wants me to play with. So yeah, this whole security thing is a very big deal. The investment thing, big deal. Doing your research, biggest deal. Just saying, there's so many things that are going on that it's ridiculous. I had to write an article just to get it out there about that security attack. And most people are like, oh, it's not a big deal. You know, it doesn't affect me. Ha, 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 ha. And I'm thinking, no, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect you. Your Microsoft passwords out there, Google passwords out there, Apple passwords out there, Meta passwords are out there, along with assorted information. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. If you go do the research on the news that I just gave you, you know, that 184 million person or million account hack that happened, right? Which one of you have an account there that actually got an email from the company saying they were hacked? I'll wait. Yeah. Now you know why I tell you guys, you got to do your own research. Don't rely on any one of these companies. It goes back to user sovereignty, your data sovereignty. Do not rely on any of these companies for your security. If you're not using a service anymore, tell them to delete your information. Before you cancel a service, you know you're canceling a service, delete your information, then cancel a service. And we need to start working on our politicians to say that, you know, these companies don't need to hold your data for an extended period of time. Once your account is closed, they do not need to hold your data. They really don't. They need to hold like an account number. They need to not hold your personal information. They need to wash that out. Just saying. Just saying. Because I wouldn't trust a hospital to hold my information. And they hold it like freaking forever. Why? Banks, they hold it like freaking forever. Why? Credit card companies, they hold it like freaking forever. Why? Oh, that's right. Because a part of their business is selling your data to make extra money. That's a revenue stream for them. Pay attention. Pay attention. It affects your bags directly. Directly. And today's question, did have a question today, and it was, will you be on the next Big Bagger video conference call June 8th at 1 p.m. It'll be next week, 1 p.m. 1 week from today at 1 p.m. 67% said yes. Somebody said no. And another person asked, where do I join? growmybag.tv/sign-up. Become a big bagger. Trust me, it's worth the money. Dude, I was watching one of your previous shows about the costs going up. Then I started watching the Jeffersons. A bean don't burn on a grill. Yeah. Right? Mr. Big, right? You start to just put things together. You really do start to put things together, and you start to see things. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the strangest things, you'll be like, so that's what that meant. Crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. I know it's insane. So what else do we have? I'm still tripping that Sheboygan, Wisconsin, it's about this big. Sheboygan, Wisconsin had 68,000 of their people's records exposed. This is a municipality. And what does that say to you? You cannot trust your local government to keep your information safe. That's what that says to you. You want to know, if I lived in Sheboygan, you want to know one of the things that I would immediately do? Because most of those people own houses. You know what I would wind up doing? I would wind up going to the municipality and finding out how they can protect my title. Yeah, stop and think about that for a minute. Businesses, people that own any kind of property out there, how are you going to protect my title? You got hacked. All of this information is out there. How does that get protected? Yes. I'd be contacting my bank. If I'm still holding a mortgage, I'm contacting my bank to make sure that I've got passwords in place, that I've got different triggers in place, so that people can't steal my title, so that people can't take out additional mortgages on that property without my express consent. Think I'm playing. I'm not. Pay attention. Pay attention. It is not simple. It is not simple. You need to continue to educate yourself on all the things that are out there. Now, mind you, that's just cybersecurity and protecting yourself, protecting your bags, protecting your value. What else happened this week? Well, I don't know. We had the House lawmakers propose the Clarity Act because they want, things to go through the CFTC with regard to crypto. Me, frankly, I think it should actually go through both the SEC and the CFTC. Why? Because there are different situations when it comes to crypto. So you know how I keep telling you guys that sometimes I look at crypto projects and I say, this is a company masquerading as a crypto? And then sometimes I say, this is a crypto masquerading as a company? Take that first one, a company masquerading as a crypto. So there was a case against Ripple because of how they did their ICO. That's a company using crypto to raise funds, security. So there are situations where you could actually see a security in the crypto space, hence SEC. But they need to ring fence that and have very little overlap, right, with the CFTC, commodities, which is where most legit crypto belongs, over there in commodities, underneath the CFTC banner, in my humble opinion. Hutanic, thank you for that additional information. I see it. 5 days to claw back debit cards. No, it depends on what bank you're dealing with. Some banks can, some banks can't. A lot of banks won't. Facts. The technology is there to do it. Let's not get it twisted. But they'll have you believe that, no, too bad, that's it. Just saying. Just putting that out there for you. It's one thing to have certain rules in place or certain capabilities in place. It's another one to actually have the practice in place. Now, what else do we have? The SEC dropped its lawsuit against Binance and CZ. Is anybody shocked? Yeah, I'm not shocked. Yes, ETH had an IPO too, an ICO too. Right? So there are specific reasons why you could have a crypto as a security. Right? Because those are businesses leveraging crypto, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of TIE. I'm glad that you guys were able to catch TIE down here, and you caught it before they started hyping it up. But I'm also glad that you're kind of recognizing, yeah, okay, it's time to get out. That's the kind of game that they're playing. They're playing the trade game. One, already risky. Two, they're playing the trade game with very small assets. A little bit more risk to that mix. But they're demonstrating the information that they're using to get there. Now, Rick Ritchie, I saw some of the information that you spoke about in the big baggers area, and I just wanted to sum that up. I looked at that information and I responded to a lot of it. I'd be very careful with that research. 2 whales buying up $1 million worth of a coin does not make it institutional interest. To me, that looks more like being set up for something in the future. That's what it looks like to me. So be careful. Right? Is the U.S. going to be left behind? As a country, perhaps, but as individuals, the more educated they become, like you guys, yeah, no, I don't think you guys are going to be left behind. But I think the United States as a country, they like flexing muscles and pretending like they're the leader in a given space. But in the crypto space, it's stateless. They're trying to pick and choose favorites. Well, because it's a in the sand trap. Ugh, sorry. Because it's stateless, they're trying to pick and choose. Well, this coin was developed here in the United States, so we're going to back that coin. We'll invest in that coin, hence choosing a winner. But just because they choose doesn't make it a winner, right? They're boosting the value of that coin, but does that coin actually deserve the attention that comes along with it? And a lot of these coins that they're picking out, I would tell you no. Look at some of the offshoots. Let's not talk about the popular coins that are actually doing stuff. Let's talk about the offshoot coins that they're talking about. Some of those coins, I'm kind of like, huh? You invested in that? All right, good luck with that. Have fun. You go for it. Have a blast. Yeah, I saw the heart thing. Crypto and precious metals. Thanks. I saw the heart thing about that. I think I actually posted an article about it. But I don't think that was this week. I don't think that was this week though, right? Yeah, they dropped the case. So I think it was on formalities, but I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't touch Hex. I wouldn't touch Hex. I agree with you. I don't know that it's a scam, but it doesn't feel right to my gut. And I'll tell you that. Which makes dropping the case against that guy fishy. No. So another case that got dropped that, didn't happen over the past week, but makes you stop and think about it, because what happened within the past week or so? Oh, you had the crypto dinner. Who was at the crypto dinner? Justin Sun. What did Justin Sun do? He dropped $75 million into World Liberty Financial, as well as bought some of the regime's coins. And then what happened? His case was dropped. So people that have done shady things have seen things kind of go away. Just saying. I'm just saying. So it makes you wonder. So what do we have to do? We have to know that nobody else, no other entity out there actually cares about my bag. Nobody cares about my bags, right? They don't care about your safety in terms of your value and where your value is held. Be careful. I hear you. That's good for you. You've been with Hex for years, but yeah, I'm not feeling it. Nope. I'm not touching it at all. Not at all. It just my gut tells me, yeah, there's no reason for me to touch it. I look at coins when I hear people talking about coins, and I see what a particular coin is all about. And, some of these things are vague at best. Vague at best. Like back to Thai. What do they do? Oh, they're doing modularized, tokenization of artificial intelligence or AI or RWA stuff. And I just sat there and I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound right to me. Actually, let me read it to you. What do they do? They're a part of the AI-driven Web3 infrastructure, including modular AI tools. What does that even mean? And a marketplace for tokenized AI commodities. What are those? Really big, conceptual, cloudy things, but to a person that's actually in the biz, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. And go read my other notes out there. I dropped a couple of things for you to consider as you continue looking at those guys. Yeah, that's something that my gut says, yeah, I'm not playing with that. I take chances, but I'm not one of those people that's looking for 100x move. That's not my thing. I'm looking for, can I make 10% increments? 10, 10, 10, 10 here, 10 there, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. I'd rather do that than take $1,000 at whatever chunks there is within that 1,000 and drop it all over the place, hoping that I'll make my 1,000 back plus whatever I think I'm going to make. I don't think so. I make more doing my 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And I sleep better. Just saying. I mean, it's because of my risk framework, right? That's the difference. I know a couple of big baggers, their risk framework, whether they believe that they have one or not, when I look at them, they have a risk framework. Their risk framework, they're more tolerant than I am. I'm less tolerant. Right? If it was just me, I'd probably be a little bit more tolerant. I've taken risks that most people in their lives would never take. Right? And not just with money, just risks. But when it comes to money now that I'm living for my last name, my mindset is completely different. I want something to be rock solid, because crypto is a money generating thing for me. It's a value generator for me. It's not necessarily a long-term asset for me. See what I mean? I'm looking for something that's going to generate money. And then I have things that are going to hold value for me. Hold value so I can go, here, kids. Here, grandkids. Here, legacy. That's what I'm looking for. Rick Ritchie, yeah, man. Slow and steady wins the race. But all of you know, I've got my solid state holding wallets, and I also have my trading wallets. My trading wallets, I trade. I actively trade. But I'm mindful of what I'll put my fingers in, because to me, $100 is a lot of money. Now a 10x can get me to 1,000, but I can turn that 100 into 110, right? And then I can take that 110 and turn it into 121. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. That's all I'm trying to do. So I play timing more than anything else. Well, timing coupled with reliability. So my risk framework for trading is different than my risk framework for holding. Just saying. You got into crypto in 2016. Yeah, I've been in it for a little bit longer, and I'm not playing with that guy. To each his own, indeed. That's why I'm saying everybody has their own risk, framework that drives how you manage your bags. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to share. Like most of us are not here to judge anybody else. How you manage yours is how you manage yours. How I manage mine is how I manage mine. But if I can share with you different tips, tricks, ideas, you might look at something and go, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. Ooh, this one's interesting. And you might go research that. That's the idea. That's the whole idea behind this community. Everybody's got their own way of making money, their own way of managing their value, their own way of growing their value, and their own reasoning for each. When I tell Rick Ritchie and Mr. Big that I'm not down with Ty, they know I'm not judging them. I'm telling them, well, I respect your research, but here are my responses toward your research because I did mine. We're not judging each other. Well, until I jump up and and remember when I didn't want to, get into something because I thought it was kind of, and it happened to be Toncoin. Don't you guys remember? It was Toncoin. I was like, and obviously, Bianca was laughing at me because I would not get into Ton. Then I finally got into Ton. I made a lot of money off of Ton. And then what happened? Ton got caught out there talking about something that hadn't happened yet, but it had taken off. So I sold because I had already been in the black and I was going to be more in the black because of it. So I sold, got out, and I said, you know what? I'm light on PAX-G. I sold that, flipped it into USDC, and then got some PAX-G. I saved a lot on expenses in that transaction. It was a two-step transaction, but it really should have been a two-step transaction, right? Because I'm talking about two different things. I'm talking about getting out of Ton and getting into PAX-G. So I did it in one flow, but they are two separate things. So, just thinking about it like that. Rick Ritchie, my man, truth. Truth. Absolute truth. We don't agree on a lot of stuff. We agree on a lot of stuff. But you want to know what else? We all learn about a lot of stuff. We learn about a lot of stuff. And that's the big thing. And the coolest thing that I find about this community is that we can tell each other and feel comfortable telling each other, I disagree, here's why. And we all know that it's not a judgment on how each other feel about something. It's not a judgment, a personal judgment. It's I just don't agree with that one. Good luck with that. I hope you make some money off of that. I'm just saying. That's literally how we built this community, how we are building this community. And it's growing. So I'm happy about that. Quick update. We're at I think we're at 9,700 articles or something like that. We just added another 106 this past week. Well, minimum 106 this past week. So yeah, we're gonna get to 10,000 real soon. I'll ask one of the guys to give me an official count, and I'll tell you if we actually hit it or if we're going to hit it. And there's a difference. There's a difference between like a video and the offshoots, stuff like that. So we do pay attention to it. I was not telling you to get into Hex. I was just talking about the SEC case. Gotcha. But you're into Hex though, right? Or are you not? You just like, nah, I'm not into Hex. Doesn't matter either way. But thank you for that. I looked at that whole thing and I was just like, wow, do you see some of these cases just getting dropped? A lot of cases that shouldn't be dropped were getting dropped. There were some stupid cases that were brought forward by the SEC, and there were some good cases brought forward by the SEC. Some of the cases were just strong arm tactics. Okay, those are stupid cases. But some of these cases were, no, that's fraud. Yeah, why are we letting people that practice fraud, go scot-free? Not even a smack on the wrist. Like, why? Just saying. It's just like, why are we letting people out of jail or letting them avoid jail and letting them avoid having to pay the money to us? If somebody owes the government money, they owe me money. If you're in the United States, they owe me money. They owe you money. Why are you not going to get my money? Think about this. If somebody owed you $100, you gonna let that slide? Nah, you're gonna step to them like, yo, where's my money? Friend, foe, whatever. You're gonna be like, where's my money? And then you're gonna handle it, right? So why wouldn't you do that before? $5K and 100 in this run. Red Star, I have a problem with the statement. Thank you, by the way. Thank you very much. So my problem with the statement is that this run, I don't think there's a run. I don't know that there's a run. We've been up high enough. We've been low enough, right? Just a little while ago, we were at 78. Is that a part of this run? When we hit 109,000 and then plummeted, well, we didn't really plummet, but we dropped significantly. Wouldn't you call that a different run? Over the course of time, if you were to, I would word the question differently. I'd be like, well, when do you think gold is going to hit 5,000 and silver is going to hit 100? Do you think it'll happen within the next year, 2 years? My answer to that would be yes. But do I believe in chunking it as runs? I think we used to be able to say runs. I think that the definition of a run might have changed, right? If you go from 100 some odd thousand and you drop all the way down to 78 and then you make your way back again, isn't that a different run? And that's where I'm having my loss. Yeah, I'm gonna block that immediately. And I'm going to block this person from the channel immediately. Yeah, they're done. Right? And it's because they came out here talking about some kind of e-new thing. Like, yeah, no, I blocked them from the channel immediately. That's shilling crypto in this community is not allowed, and not have an immediate response for that. Okay. So back to Red Star's question. Crypto. I need a shorter name for you, man. You got crypto and precious metals channel. I mean, that's like 10 syllables. You got a nickname that I can use? That's a lot. I like your statement right there. The only reason why I say that I'm not shaky on silver hitting 100, being iffy on it, is only because people sometimes think of precious metals as, something to hold, something to own, something like that. I'm thinking in terms of electronics, and that's why I'm thinking, I think silver is going to do it. And here's the kicker. I think silver will do it just because gold will do it. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to be one or the other. I don't know what now I know what you meant by that. Dude, CPMC, that's still, and it doesn't even roll off the tongue nice. You're killing me, man. You're killing me. Oh no, we know how to track it, Hutanic. It's not a matter of tracking it and predicting when. You know what I mean? For me, it's because there are so many things that go into charting these days that have nothing to do with your chart. News can impact your chart, and I think more so today than, recent times. Right? A war between Pakistan and India, which there is some kind of a, not truce, but a ceasefire. They're not calling it a truce. They're calling it a ceasefire, and they're both accusing the other of breaking the ceasefire. So that's still something that's brewing. So yeah. MC? I don't know. PM? I don't know. Okay, peace. I'm out on my day off. Yo, go enjoy the rest of the day, Mr. Big. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you, man. No, we didn't put him to sleep. He's just got other things to do. He works like 6 days a week, so his time is spent doing stuff. He catches the repeats too. What else do we have? I don't even want this person to show on the channel. Can I just ditch this person? Yeah, I can remove it. There you go. Yeah, I forgot to report that person. There you go. Spam. And never show this person on my channel again. That's the plan. There you go. What else do we have? Hold on a second. I just want to see if we got anybody. No. It takes a gargantuan amount of money to push a $22 trillion market cap. Like Rick said, at this point, it's going up on monthly charts. I hear you. I understand you. But again, looking at a chart is not looking at all the information that's there that can have an effect. HB, thank you very much for that. Appreciate you. I think that, like I do charting. A lot of us here do charting. Some of us are better at it than others. Some of us will lean on it more than others. Me, I don't lean on charting as much as others. I look at charting. I think it's good. I think it's convenient. I think it's a good way to start to understand, the rhythm of a coin, because you can look at the chart separately from the news and kind of go, okay, I understand the rhythm of the coin. And then you take the news, overlay the news on it, like using, TradeView and things like that. So you can actually start to see, well, when I dropped this news, it was this. When I dropped this news, was that. Same thing. Hutanic, you're going to get sent to the corner because I know exactly what you're really asking there. You think you're funny. I'm going to catch you, sir. So, yeah, I think about how I can tie everything together, or at least put it all in a bag and then dump out the bag and see if I can create a picture from it all. Does it show me something? And charting is just a piece of that. It's just a piece. Did you see where I posted earlier about XRP? Yeah, but that's not new news. That's news that everybody in the XRP army knew about already. That's like a thing. It's scheduled. That's why it's a thing. So yeah, that's not new news. People that are just getting into it might want to see that, but yeah. So I did see it. Appreciate it though, because that some people might not have known that. I have to. So I notice that sometimes we'll see people that post things, and in my head, I'm going, yeah, I knew that already. But not everybody did. So isn't that newsworthy? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. The only thing I don't like is when people post ads. They don't realize they're posting an ad. But if you post a link to something and you don't give your opinion on the link, that's called an ad. That's something I don't like. And it's because you're not sharing an opinion. You're just posting a link. That's a waste of time. Unless it's actual news where I can go there, read the news. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I'm still not teaching options. No, I'm not teaching options. I don't think I'll ever teach Red Star, you're a pain in the ass. Because you know what? I can't. I was just about to say something, and then because of your question, I had to stop and think about that and just go, ooh. Because I do invest in options, I do invest in stocks, just not as much as I'm doing in crypto. But that's because I do so much in the crypto space. And to say that I would never teach options is, wow, yeah, that would be stupid. I'm just not doing it now, is what I would say. But I do understand that we probably do need some information about the options basics, right? Things that you can get everywhere else. But yeah, we should have a section on options, section on trading stocks, how when you buy X number of stocks that you could leverage the options on it. Like there's like a whole thing that we could do there, and I haven't. Oh man, I almost want to put you in a corner for that, just for calling me out. I can't though, because you're right. But I will say this. There are a lot of schools out there. One of my friends, not friends, he's an associate. He teaches he teaches classes for people to get their Series 63, Series 70, 63, and Series 7, that kind of stuff. He teaches real certification courses. There are people out there that will do a better job than me. The most that I can do is give the basics about something, so it whets people's appetites more to actually go do the research. Like you can go get a whole huge education depending on the platform that you're using. But if you use something like Thinkorswim, you can go get a huge education. I think E-Trade has a training section on that as well. There are lots of places where you can actually go get real training. And sometimes it's for free and sometimes it's for money. It really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. I do want to tap into some crypto derivatives and have some of the BTC and ETH ETFs for the bear market. Would I keep an ETF in a bear market? I don't know that I would, because I'm still susceptible to that coin's downfall, right? I'm still open to that downward risk. So I don't know that I want to do that. You might not have been here when I said it, but for me, when crypto goes down, I'm getting out. That, like, period. I'll sit on, even getting into gold is a iffy question for me. It's an iffy question. I might choose to sit on stable coins. It'll be a mixture of stable coins and PAX-G, and most likely USDT, USDC, and PAX-G when I get out of crypto. Technically, I'm obviously still in crypto, but I mean out of the truly risky side of crypto: Bitcoin, Ethereum, SUI, blah 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 blah. That's what I'm going to do. Why? Is because there'll be other investments that I want to be able to get into where I'll be liquid and be able to get into them real fast. So think about real estate. If crypto takes a dive, the economy's taking a dive. The economy's taking a dive. Stock market's taking a dive. Stock market takes a dive. Then real estate is definitely taking a dive. If real estate takes a dive, don't I want to get in on real estate? I'm just saying. Yeah, I would dump all my freaking Bitcoin, man. No freaking joke. I would dump every single piece of Bitcoin that I had. Why? Because if I sell X amount of Bitcoin up here, when it takes its dive, even if I took all that money, penny for penny, and bought back in down here, I will have more Bitcoin. So yeah, unless I see that there is not enough Bitcoin in reserves at some of these places, I'd be thinking about that. I don't know what USDTG is, so please spell that out. I have no idea what that is. Never heard of it. Why would you have any EFTs when you can get it yourself? I can tell you now, you would get into an ETF, because obviously I read that wrong. You would get into an ETF because you're going to be able to get in on that at a lower price. Then you have to wonder if that ETF, if you could actually, it's sort of like PAX-G. If I want my gold, I can go get my gold. Will some of these ETFs give you your value not in the dollar value that it is, but would they give it to you in the asset? Probably not, but you never know. If they did, then you'd want that asset because you're getting it at a discount. See what I mean? So there are reasons why you could do an ETF and, want to do something like that, but hold an ETF in a down market, that's not what I'm going to do. It's absolutely not what I'm going to do. Yeah, Hutanic, you thought I was going nuts, right? But yeah, if everything starts going like this, everything's going like this. So I'm going to be moving my value from digital assets to physical assets. At that point in time, I might actually consider, well, what's availed to me in the RWA space? Like how I buy property might be, I'm going to go look online to see, well, what real estate is available RWA style, because that might happen faster. Got to see. I don't know. There are a lot of states, a lot of municipalities looking at moving titles to blockchain tech. What does that mean? Because that changes how property changes hands, right? It changes the whole research process. How you do a title search when you're buying a new house. Yeah. That's going to be disrupted in the very near future. Give it 2 years. More and more municipalities that move to digitizing titles. It's kind of like, well, that becomes the Bible. I no longer have to do a title search in certain areas. Disrupting the process. Are there title companies that would go out of business because that's their business? Now, if you want to be smart, if you're a title company, how come you're not looking at it like that? How come you're not trying to get into that business? If it dumps tomorrow, looks like potential, what are the charts saying? I don't know why you'd be looking at the charts if you think, like, why do you think it's going to tank tomorrow? Numbers don't necessarily predict, man. Numbers don't predict. And with the news the way it is now, the charts aren't going to tell me jack. You know what could move you? July 18th could move you. July 18th could move you. Next FOMC decision day. So can I just call you Steve? Is that okay if I call you Steve? Because, man, whew. Oh, got you. Okay. Max Salas, that to me is shilling a coin. So please remove it. And if you're not gonna say what the market cap is, what business that they're in, like, show us that you've done some research. You know the rules. If you got to drop that along with it. Thank you, Steve. You got to drop that information along with it. You can't just, throw something up like that because it immediately looks like a shill to me. Okay? So rectify that, please. Thanks. Appreciate you, man. Because the reason why I say so is because your message pops up. I know you're not trying to shill, but it looks like somebody I just kicked off the channel. I literally just did that. I want to say what to Hutanic, like 15 minutes ago. Yeah. Somebody was acting stupid. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. hold it. There was more. There was more. Something that I think is going to affect us next week. And it's going to sound like a repeat. Tariffs again. Tariffs again. Okay. That's something I'm going to be paying attention to. Any kind of tariff news. Any kind of tariff news is something I'm going to be paying attention to. I'm looking for any kind of government ETF action. The next big thing, maybe even bigger than those first two, is going to be the talk and rhetoric around the bill, HR 1, the big BM of a bill. That's what I call it. The big BM of a bill. Why? Go read it. Go read it. You know what I do have to say, there has been a lot of news come out about the bill, but you know what? And I've said a lot about the bill. You know, I only had one person come at me about what I said about the bill. I kid you not, I've only had one person come at me, and they weren't even coming at me. They were making a comment. Hey, why don't you think like this? They were asking a legit question. That's as close as it came to somebody coming at me, because I think a lot of people are reading and hearing about the bill and going, that can't be true. And then going and looking it up and going, oh, it is true. You're actually seeing wealthy people come out and say they don't like the big BM of a bill. We're starting to hear about the hidden things within the bill that could decrease its chances of having a simple 51 majority to get it done. There's a huge amount of pushback against that bill. Huge. So we're going to have to pay attention to that. That's what I think is going to affect the next couple of weeks. But tariff talk, and I just saw what you just typed. Yeah, the new regime is going to be talking about tariffs this week. I have to tell you, it's I'm less worried about what he says and more concerned about what other countries do or don't do. China told him to go kick rocks. That's why he hasn't moved. China told him to go kick rocks. They don't believe he's serious. Not that he's, not serious about, whatever it is he's doing, but he's not serious in their eyes to wanting to solve the problem. I'm more concerned about reactions. And I don't think he's going to have anything positive to say, which, going back to what Hutanik is saying, if all of that is going to be, then yes, I believe that we're going to take a hit this week. I will say one thing, though. His word on the topic, or the T word, is beginning to have a more diminished effect over time. That doesn't mean the problem goes away. It means that it's having less of an effect over time. Interesting to me. Very interesting. What do you mean YouTube is not receiving enough? That's weird. I just got a pop-up message that's, can you guys still see me and hear me? Because I just got a pop-up message from YouTube saying that it's not getting enough video to maintain a smooth reaction. I don't see a clip. I just see weakness. You don't see a dip. You just see weakness. But that's what I mean. Have you been checking out the resilience? Yeah, now I'm seeing it over here. I'm just paying attention to what's going on. Oh my God, Rick Ritchie, you said two names in one sentence, and it really hurt my stomach. Oh man. I bored for a second. You're good. Now I'm good. I think that might have been a connection between Vimeo and YouTube, because it wasn't a problem on my end. Anywho, I see weakness, but are you looking at Oh, borging a bit. Do you see the resilience of Bitcoin lately, though? Like I said, the effect of him talking about tariffs is having a more diminished effect on crypto. And when I look at that, I'm kind of like, that could be a problem. Yeah, I have a lot of applications open. I can't close them right now. So probably borged a little bit. Sorry about that, folks. Don't worry, I'm going to get a new computer. This one's new, but I'm doing more on it. Like I'm running AI models and stuff like that. If you can't crank out 3 things that you see as why crypto will stand out, that's funny. So to talk about, security, I'm getting bombarded with a hell of a lot more fake messages. A lot more fake messages, a lot more fake phone calls. Telling you that security is a problem. And these companies that have not been paying attention to it for a while, like some of these, like whoever's using Commvault, a lot of those companies did not implement, fix the vulnerabilities that were out there that they knew were vulnerable. They're just not paying attention. I think they should have to do more than give you an account at some credit monitoring agency. Remember what credit monitoring is. They can't necessarily protect you from things that go on. They can only react to things. Wherever you have an account, if your credit can be affected, they should be responsible for having adequate security, and they don't. They don't. So we should be paying attention to it. What else is there? Justin BTC is skipping bear market this season. It's meant to be funny. But as I keep mentioning to you guys about Bitcoin's resilience, that could be the actuality. Bitcoin could have so much pent up energy right now that bringing it down is something that's not going to happen right now. Right to value, yeah. Data sovereignty is my big thing. If I'm paying you for a service and you're not actually saying what you're doing, I should get my money back. Banks hold your money. Some of these banks been hacked. Where's my compensation? You know what I mean? Like they never talk about how they're going to compensate you for doing what you've done, and they bang you for something. I want money. You didn't protect my account. I want you to pay me. I want you to pay the bills, and I want you to pay me. There are just things out there. What are my thoughts on the future of meme coins? I think meme coins are going to die. I think it'll be a gruesome death. They'll be kicking, screaming, crying, yelling, name calling, all kinds of things. But I think meme coins are going to die a miserable death. What's in them? What do? They do nothing. They have names. There are projects out there that are parading around as like real projects, and they're nothing more than meme coins. Just saying. Yell at them outside from a video screen when they don't treat you right for holding your money. Lieutenant goes in the corner. 'Cause yes. But seriously, I think meme coins take a dive. Yo, Red Star, man, thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. I greatly appreciate that. But yeah, I think some of the research we're going to have to do as people involved in the industry, we're going to have to start thinking about what's the definition of a bull run? What's the definition of a bear run? What marks the beginning? What marks the end? You're not going to know until it happens. So when we hit 78 was, the end of a bear market. Hear me out. It marked the end of a bear market. We went up to almost 112. Okay. And now we're down to 105. That to me is a strong pullback, but it does not mark the end of a bull market. Just saying. Esco is your dog. Esco was good. Dang. I have to say, I actually feel honored that, you know, we have people here that know each other that both showed up here. That's pretty hot. That's pretty hot. Thank you for that. Makes my day. Definitely makes my day. But yeah, I'm looking at this stuff and I'm just saying to myself, there's a lot of stuff that happened over the past week that we should be paying attention to. But unfortunately, I think that over the coming week, it's going to be all about tariffs. Next 2 weeks. Okay. My bad. Next 17 days. Okay. Next 17 days. It's going to be all about tariffs. It's going to be all about the tax bill. And I don't know which one is one and which one is two. I think the news is the tax bill. I think the big risk is still tariffs. You have smaller risks like India and Pakistan just going full on out. And then on July 18th, I'll give you the answer. You have the FOMC meeting on the 17th and an answer on the 18th. The only other positive thing that's going to happen between now and then that I know is going to happen is, well, you have the big bagger video conference call that's happening a week from today at 1 p.m. So if you're not a big bagger yet, get on board with that. $120 a year is nothing compared to what you get out of it. And woof. Hutanic, I owe you a phone call. Man. I forgot to catch you up on something. So are you available today? Give me a yes or no. Are you available in the next half hour or so? Other than that, that's what I'm looking at this week. I've already started pulling profit. And some of you might be wondering, why am I pulling profit? I'm pulling profit. Thanks. I'll give you a buzz. I'm pulling profit because I think that we could see some downward momentum getting us to about 100 over the course of June and July. Could we get down to in the 90s, possibly in the high 80s? I think so. Right. But then I think come August, September timeframe, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now, a date between then and now is also, what is it, July 8th or July 9th, that the whole tariff thing with the EU comes up. I wonder if people are going to remember that, if it's going to be a big news thing. So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to see some movement, but people are going to be going on vacation. Kids are out of school. My son graduates from high school. Just saying. So we don't have a lot of known drivers that could happen. We do have a couple of ETFs that could get a decision. Most likely they'll get kicked down the road again. In which case, I think that if we don't get a new ETF in the June-July timeframe, a lot of people are going to be looking at the SEC saying they're not seeing a change in practice. And that will not be a good look for the current regime. Salute to all. I'm late for class. Yo, get to class, man. Get out. Go. Get out of here. And salute to you too for being in class, because that means you actually are investing in yourself. I'm not sure what the convo is about, but I got my notebook out. It's okay to be late because you can go back. It's being recorded. It's going to be out there. We have a few changes that are coming up, but not. I'm thinking probably later this month or early next month, we're going to have some major changes. Just saying. Because we've solved some pretty mighty problems on our side with regard to the platform. So I think that's going to be great. This is the class. Esco, you're the man. You're the man. Thank you for that. Israel and Ukraine. Israel Ukraine conflicts need to be resolved. Did you not notice I was staying away from that one, from those two? Because they're so politicized, it's not even funny. But, you know, the rhetoric that Ukraine got previously, where now Europe is taking up the cause for Ukraine, where the United States is dropping off, but the United States might pick back up because Russia's screwing up so much and we're even considering more sanctions against them. Yeah. These are going to have effects on our bags. Ukraine is letting loose. They're fighting for their lives, and they're actually just showing it out there. Yo, Steve Mayfield, that's what's up. You were able to switch over. My man. Thank you. The idea of certain conflicts around the world not being ended yet as promised is going to be a problem. If you have a risk register, meaning a place where you actually keep note of all the risks, those are also big risks. I think the bigger risk is actually, believe it or not, is actually India and Pakistan. There is deep hate. There's almost Israeli Arab hate between those two countries. I think it might even be more so. So that's going to be a problem. And you're talking about two nuclear powers. And this is the big one that probably nobody is really paying a deep attention to, but I do. India has a lot of the world's technology there. A lot of the world's technologists are in India because the world outsourced their freaking IT or their technology teams to India. Yeah. So think about that. That's risky. So yeah, you're talking about something that could be a major problem going forward. I don't think we can exit that hemisphere. That would be a bad move. I think we need to do a better job at what we're trying to accomplish around the world. But from an economic perspective, yeah, I don't think we can do that. They got beef before that. They just got beef. Historic. And I truly mean historic beef. That's why I compared it to, Israel and Arabs. It's that level historic beef. So yeah, and they're two nuclear capable countries. That right there, that makes it a big problem. And it's a powder keg. And can it affect our bags immediately? Yes. Something else that people are not paying attention to that could also affect our bags. China's claim on Taiwan. Don't sleep on that. Everything that's going on in the Ukraine is directing China on how they can move forward. These actions around the world are telling other countries around the world how the world is going to react and should we do something. China's waiting for the world to blink. And if we blink, they're going to take Taiwan. And what does that do to the world's chip manufacturing? Yeah. And mind you, where does NVIDIA want to build their next huge freaking $500 billion factory? Yeah, go look that one up. We're not talking about small things here, people. We're talking about big things. Big things. Really big things. So yeah, I'm paying attention to a lot of stuff. I have a lot of stuff on my risk register that I'm paying attention to. Now you understand why I tell you guys, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. And investing doesn't mean just putting your money in. It's knowing where to move your money, where to move your value, when to take your value, not just when to put your value in. Those are always the big lessons. This is why I deliver the news and the way I do it. I'm not one of these people that's going to be out here talking to you about, oh, Bitcoin this and Bitcoin that and Bitcoin. Yeah, no. I'm telling you about all kinds of news that can affect your bags, from real estate to business to crypto, stocks, options, bonds, everything that you're touching. Those are your bags. I'm trying to give you things that will help you to understand what can affect your bags, so that you can manage your own risk, right? Making money is not just about making money. It's also about managing risk. So that's what I try to give, because that's what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm giving to my kids. Just in case you guys forget, these videos are for my kids. So I can give them the lessons without them freaking out about having to listen to dad, all the time. They can just hop on. I have people in my family that listen to the show and no idea they were listening to the show until we have a conversation and they bring something up and I go, oh, you were paying attention. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. It's been a grand pleasure sharing time with you guys today. We've got a lot covered. Out of 12 votes, we have 42% saying yes, they will be at the Big Baggers video conference call. We have a couple of people, 17% said no. And some people asked, where do you join? You go to growmybag.tv/sign-up. That's a direct way of getting involved and becoming a big bagger. Or you can become a big bagger right via YouTube. The only thing is you've got to make sure that I get your email address. So Eric Jones, if you're listening, you've got to get me your email address so I can add you to the invitation. That's the only thing. So if you join via YouTube, you've got to make sure I get your email address. If you join via growmybag.tv, obviously that's direct. If you want to reach out to me directly, and you can always just become a bagger on Grow My Bag, or you can reach out to us on Instagram or X or Facebook or, we're everywhere. But we're going to start limiting the avenues by which you can reach us. So make sure I get your email address. If you want to be a big bagger and you want to go about it an easy way, the easy way is go to the site. We're about to launch the new site. We fixed a whole bunch of things on the new platform that we've got going on. So yeah, there was a major bug that held us up. We had to work with Microsoft to fix it. Apparently they made some changes to how the code is going to work, and they didn't realize that they had made the changes. Hence, nobody got a notice. They made changes in other areas that affected certain other spaces, and they didn't even realize. We found it because of how we do our coding, how we do our development. So it was a good thing. We learned a lot. We got a lot done. Anyway, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. If you like what we're doing, smash the likes, tell your friends about us. And definitely thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And as always, absolutely, thank you for your trust. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day. Hutanic, I'll get to you in a few minutes.